So what is R.E.P.O? R.E.P.O is the latest entry in what it has become known as the horror co-op multiplayer with a little bit of roguelike into it genre that was popularized by games like Phasmophobia, Little Company, GTFO, content warning, fucking spiky contract. In R.E.P.O you play as a little triangular guy.
Get out of here.
Bombardido crocodilo. Tralalelo tralala. Vaca Saturno Saturnito.
You go around trying to fill a quota with a couple of randos or your friends. You try to, you sneak into a place that you aren't supposed to be in. You take items from that place. You try to fill a quota. There's monsters trying to hunt you.
I gotta test something out, bro.
And if they kill you, if you don't fill the quota, if you die, you lost the mission. Try again, right? Obviously has very big parallels to Little Company because at its essence it is the same type of game. But I think R.E.P.O evolutionizes beyond that. R.E.P.O has a lot more of its own charm. I think it takes mechanics from other games, from the fixes to the gameplay loop to the co-op aspect of it all. It does a couple of things differently and very well. But I do not think it's a copy. I don't think Little Company has any right to say that it owns this type of genre. There's similarities, but that's what happens with a genre, okay? And I think Little Company and R.E.P.O are its own little things. Little Company offers a more serious, scarier.
¿Qué carajo?
It's its own thing. While R.E.P.O is more arcadey, more funny, more samey, while also being a really good game. And I want to highlight some of the differences that make it its own thing enough to get you to stop playing Marvel Rivals and stop maining Rocket Raccoon so that you can fucking play R.E.P.O. Unless you're in console, in which case, stay there, loser. We're not. You aren't seeing this game until it has lost all its. No, that's a mean thing to say. That's really fucking mean. Gameplay loop. The way you played it, it's completely different. It reminds me more of Alien Isolation because in Alien Isolation you play as Isolation and you are hiding against this guy. Guess what his name is? And you go under the tables. You're just trying to hide from this monster AI by any means necessary. It can see, it can hear, and it can feel things, and you're just trying to get around to it. I am reminded of that when I'm hiding from the fucking nun and like behind the table, and I'm just like circling it around, chasing it a little bit. And one thing that bothers me and that bothered a lot of people when playing Alien Isolation is the fact that your microphone is connected. And that makes a lot of sense. Immersion wise, that makes all of the fucking sense in the world because, hey, don't talk. But Alien Isolation doesn't give you any motive to talk. It's just you and the alien. So what do? We make it multiplayer. And we make it more interactable. We make it part of the gameplay loop of it all. So in R.E.P.O, you need to talk. Your character moves his mouth, which is always a little nice detail for immersion. But not only that, there are monsters that directly change your voice.
Escóndanse.
Me quieren, me quieren, me
No,
quieren,
pero.
me quieren, me
Pero.
quieren,
Escóndete.
me quieren.
Escóndete, puñeta.
Se va a morir.
¿Cómo?
There's items that directly affect your voice, the things you say, like the love potion that makes you be a little gay for your homies.
I'm kind of going wild for a boss level 62, bro. Level 62. Walking it makes my day. High key, oh la la la.
But kissing your homies goodnight is always okay, and which is really freaking cool, because if one of the things that bothered me the most when playing Little Company was the fact that your voice was perfect, yes, and monsters can hear you, yes, but that is all. All of the rest of the possibilities that could happen being in multiplayer and being your voice being a mechanic of the game were added with mods like the mimic that can directly after they kill your teammate, they can start throwing around voice lines of that character. That just made Repo a whole lot inherently more welcoming to me. And another thing that made Repo a whole lot my type of game was the physics. Physics in games are like my crack, Half-Life 2 with the gravity gun, or even the Jurassic Park Trespasser game with the way you handle guns and items. That has always been fascinating to me. And Repo is literally like a combination of those two games. Things that every one of the items interacts with the environment in a way. There's a strength to your character and there's weight to the items, and you have to put them in a cart so that you can take them back. The thing is, if you don't have enough strength, if you don't have enough management, or like if you're feeling today like a FedEx package operator, you're gonna destroy it and you're gonna devalue the items that you're supposed to be taking to the cart. And I'm mentioning Half-Life in this, and that makes a total sense. But look at Trespasser. Look at the way that you handle guns and weapons in Ripple. It's literally like Trespasser, freaking Jurassic Park game from like the 90s that nobody played because nobody had the freaking power to run that thing, which is such a shame. It was really innovative for its time. It was simply lacking like the home technology for you to actually experience this game. The way the items behave, in the way that you're supposed to use cooperation and teamwork to get those items to the cart, that's where the cooperation and the teamwork really excels.
Suicide Squad.
It reminds me a little bit of Big Rock Galactic in the same sense that you really have to have your own team on the same page for a couple of things so that you can actually get this mission through. Because remember, I mentioned how stuff weighs and how much strength you can have. Well, if you don't have the strength required, you can always just get a body. You can always get another body, and you can both hold the item to the card or to the place or to freaking whatever you gotta do with it. And what differentiates Little Company and Repo the most, in my opinion,
You low key try.
is the single player. Because these games were not meant to be played by yourself. But not anybody can afford to fucking know people or have friends or go into pubs. Because in pubs, there's only tryhards and like Russian kids. And I don't know how to speak Russian and I'm not good at these games. So, you know, but if there's a game that I have to play offline, I'm definitely booting up Repo. Because Little Company, that is hell. That is literal hell. That's gonna be you're gonna shed your pants. You're gonna piss and cum your socks. There's just no way you are getting out of this one. Okay. But Repo is a little bit more lighthearted, and you can upgrade your character. You can fight against the strength of it all, because you can all the money that you get, instead of having to distribute it between all of the triangle people, you can just use it on yourself, buy yourself on upgrades, and you can just keep persisting. And I think, at least more fundamentally, that's what steers it more in my direction. Although, even though these aspects do make the game very fucking fun, I can't get enough of the thing, and I'm sure you can, because you keep seeing the clips, you keep seeing the funnies, and it just looks like a whole lot of fun, and it is. I recommend you play it. But I think the comparison between Little Company, Repo, Content Warning, Phasmophobia, GTFO, any of these games that are in the same genre that hold a little bit of the same concepts, I think it's stupid. It is a genre. It's evolutionizing. Mario doesn't have any grounds to sue Sonic. It's the same genre, but it keeps building up on it. PUBG doesn't have any grounds to sue Fortnite. It's its own thing. It's a new thing. We're gonna keep seeing the same. We're gonna keep seeing different interpretations of the same concepts, and that's how we get good games. That's how games work in general. So hey, whole lot of fun, stupid argument, but